Hi everybody, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel. This is my weekly angel card reading video, which is exactly what you were looking for, hopefully, when you tuned into this. If not, you're probably watching the wrong channel. This is what I do every week. I read angel cards for people. They're very general. It's up to you to take the meaning that resonates most for you. I try to convey different meanings to different people, but because everybody's at a different age, stage, and place, location, etc. It's up to you to trust your intuition. But I think that's what makes angel card readings so good. They're very empowering. It's a collaboration between you and the universe. I'm not telling you what's going to happen. You're making the future, and these cards are helping you. So I'll start shuffling now for Monday. This is for the week September the 10th, Monday right through to Sunday the 16th. Is that right? Yes, it is. Get the dates confused. So Monday we have this card about pray. Now, those of you who have had bad experiences with religion are probably freaking out right about now. Please don't. The card is about having a conversation with the universe. It's not about a formal prayer or going to a church or anything like that. So the thing to remember is your angels cannot help you unless you ask them for help. That is because you are in charge of your life. You have free will. If you want help, the only time they're going to intervene is if your life is in danger and it's not your time to pass. So the card is asking you to remember to talk to them. Please don't feel alone. Please don't feel like you're battling everything all on your own. You're not. You have so much support, and your angels want to help you, but they need your permission. So please ask for help. And please also talk to them even when you don't need help. That's a really helpful thing to do. Saying thank you, hugely powerful act. We know research shows that gratitude is hugely powerful in helping people feel more positive and more centered. I don't know if that's the right word, but certainly more satisfied with their lives. So those are the main messages with that card about pray. Whenever I post any message along these lines, I get someone asking me, how do I talk to my angels? Well, there's not really a secret formula. You do not need a formal prayer. You just need to talk to them. I do it out loud. I do it in my head. I do both. It's very conversational, actually. It's not formal at all. And if you are comfortable with formal prayers, by all means, there's no wrong or right way. It's your intention that matters. You can't get the words wrong. So please don't put too much emphasis on the format or the language. Whatever feels right for you is what you should do. Tuesday, forgiveness. This is a really big card, or a big message, really. So the card is asking you to look at where you're stuck in terms of resentment or bitterness towards someone for something they've done in the past. For some of you, it's probably quite old. During the recent Mercury retrograde, a lot of old stuff came up for me. That's what retrogrades do. They bring up old. We're going backwards. We're going back over old things that need reviewing. And I was forced to reckon with the fact that I had not treated certain people very fairly. And the way I make peace with that is firstly by forgiving myself, and firstly by looking for the lesson. If you can learn the lesson, then you change the energy around that and you can let it go. You do not need to contact the person involved. And sometimes people want to do that. That's okay, but it's not necessary, because it's about your energy and your emotions around it. You can't change what has happened, and it's not up to you. Having the other person's, approval or knowing that they're okay is not really what it's about, because if you're still beating yourself up, then it's really not, or you haven't learned the lesson, you haven't really taken anything good from it. So it's about your relationship to what happened. And a lot of people with forgiveness, they struggle because they think, well, that it wasn't fair, it shouldn't have happened. And forgiving someone doesn't mean what happened was fair or it was right. It just means you're choosing not to hold on to it. So the card is really about letting go of ill feeling or resentment, because those things keep you stuck. They limit your ability to really engage with other people, to really open your heart. And I do need to add a caveat to that. Sometimes forgiveness is just not possible because the wound is too deep, or what happened was too major. So I feel the message about forgiveness can be a bit too flippant sometimes. And I know from my life, certainly looking back over my past, there were times when what happened was so, not that what happened was extreme, but the circumstances around it were that I just couldn't forgive. So instead I went down a process of energy healing and past life regressions to really look for the energy around that and change it. That was the only way I could really move forward, because otherwise you know, I was just going to keep recreating it. So that's what it's about. It's about not making what happened okay necessarily, because it probably will always be unfair, but making sure that it's not something that becomes a stumbling block for you. Use your imagination for Wednesday. Imagination is something that we are taught in childhood to devalue, and your imagination is hugely powerful. It's actually a way that your intuition communicates with you. So this might be asking you to take a more creative approach to your problems. It might be asking you to act on the intuitive messages you've been getting that you thought seemed too ridiculous. And maybe you don't take those actions in a ridiculous way, but maybe you just take what they're saying and tailor it to make it more practical and achievable. Just trying to tune into this. Imagination and creativity, they're very Pisces kind of energies. And I think that some of you are being a little bit too, is it right-brained? I'm not sure what part of the brain. The part of you that wants to be logical is having too much reign over your life, and this is asking you to break that mold and to allow creativity and imagination to take hold. And that can be about doing things just for the pure joy of doing them, for silliness. Like I do sketching and it's not good, I just enjoy it. It's easy for me to go, I don't have time for this, I've got things that will earn me money or things that will help me get more organised that I need to do. And so it can be difficult to overrule those and say, no, this is what's important right now. So I feel like I went round in circles a bit with this, but hopefully you guys, you got what was important from it. I can only assume. Thursday. And the other thing with that one I would add is, I'm just getting, if you've been trying the same thing, if you've got a recurring pattern, you've been trying to fix something or repair something and it's not working because you're trying the same thing over and over again, this is asking you to take a different approach and to try to be a little bit more creative with it. In terms of the way you welcome in those ideas. Ask your angels for help. Sometimes, because I mentioned Pisces, the sign of dreams, sometimes asking for help or advice in your dreams can be really helpful. And the messages that come through are not going to be literal, but there will be something in there that will be helpful. For example, anytime you dream about being in a car or some mode of transport like a train, it's about your journey through life. So, you know, if you're having a dream about that and maybe the vehicle or the whatever it is jerky and really going off track, maybe that's trying to tell you that maybe you're going off track and you need to look at different ways of doing things. Yeah, it's very personal dreams. There's guidance online that can help you, but remember they're not literal. Whatever's happening is not a literal, or can be, but very rarely is it a literal prediction of something that's going to happen to you. And if it is, you'll know. Thursday, overcoming difficulties. What I love about this card is the way that the angel is rising up. That's what it's about, an ascent, rising above what's going on. Some of you, they're saying, are getting too bogged down in your everyday kind of dramas, your everyday kind of clashes and your everyday sort of struggles, and they're asking you to rise up and look at the bigger picture. Am I going to be worried about this in a year? Probably not. So that's not to say it's not a problem. It's not trying to devalue what you're dealing with, but try to limit the amount of emotional energy you're going to put into something that actually isn't that important in the scheme of things. So you do have the ability to overcome your difficulties. That's the most, I guess, the overriding message here. And it's a message of hope and asking you to understand that your reality now is not your reality for the rest of your life. Let's go to Friday now. This really awkward shuffling. Great card though. I can already see the image of a snapdragon is so appropriate because the message is release all anger. So very clear relationship between that and the forgiveness card. So I don't know, the risk of sounding a little bit repetitive. Anger is an emotion that, well, it's asking you to release it. I always say with anger, it's covering something. It's a surface level emotion that covers something else. So that would be something like, I'm angry at this person because they did this. What's going on underneath that? I'm afraid that because they treated me this way, that means that I'm never going to find love again. Or I'm afraid that that means that I have no value, or whatever it is. Look at what's really going underneath that action, because it's not just this was unfair and it shouldn't have happened, which is very valid. I'm not trying to devalue your feelings. I'm just trying to say, look at what's going on underneath, because that will give you a clue as to where the work is to be done. But that's kind of a little bit of an energy healing sort of approach there. But it certainly can be valuable. I've found it valuable in my own life. The other message about this card is about making sure that you are not jumping to anger in response to situations, instead of trying to be a little bit more patient and thinking, is this going to be the most helpful response? For example, if you're in traffic and someone pulls in front of you, it's very tempting to toot the horn, especially in New Zealand. We love tooting the horn in New Zealand. In Australia, they really don't do that very much, I've noticed. Try to resist doing that and look at, maybe that person's having a really bad day. Maybe they've had some really bad news, try and give them some leeway. It probably wasn't the right thing to do, but I've no doubt that you've probably done the same thing yourself. Certainly I have, and I'm not necessarily proud of that, but what I am saying is, instead of jumping to that sort of rash response, pulling back and saying, is this really that much of a problem? And secondly, I wonder what's going on for that person. Maybe I can just cut them a bit of slack. Let's go to Saturday now. Ooh, okay, turns out this card deck is not wanted by the universe right now, because the cards have just gone everywhere. It's a very dramatic way to tell me I'm on the wrong track. So what should I pick? I'll pick up this one here. Okay, yeah, that works beautifully. So we got what we needed. Shield yourself. We had this card 2 weeks ago. Bit of repetition going on here. Remember that when things are repeated, it's not just the universe being lazy. It's because something is being emphasized. It's important. You didn't get the message last time, or maybe your circumstances have changed and you need to hear it again, or maybe you took it in, but there was something you didn't quite understand about that, so it's coming up again. Things come up so they can be cleared. They're not just, the universe isn't trying to punish you by sending you difficult situations. It's coming up so you can work through things. It's hard to remember that, I know. But anyway, oh, is this Saturday or something? It's Saturday, yes. Shield yourself. I do have an article about shielding. I will try to post it again. I may forget. Please remind me if I forget. You can shield your energy field so that if you are around people who are negative or are critical, you're not taking on board their energy. It's very easy, especially if you're an empath, which means you're energetically sensitive. It's very easy to take on someone else's bad mood and not know why, or not even be conscious that it's happening. So this is partly asking you to be aware of where you're taking on things that are not yours, and to make a conscious decision that you're not going to do that, or that you can, okay, I'm not buying into that. And secondly, to protect yourself better, and you can do that by a simple shielding technique that I use in my daily meditation. And even if I fall off the wagon and don't do my daily meditation, I still take just a minute to shield myself. It's so important. I do not want to be buying into anybody else's stuff. It doesn't make you numb to what's going on. It doesn't make you lose your own experiences. It just means that you can feel empathy for people and not take on board their stuff, and not feel as distraught as they are. You still feel empathy, and you still understand a degree of what they're going through, because you can never fully understand anyone else's experience, let's be honest. But you're not being lumbered by it. You're not crippled by it yourself. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me try this card deck again and see if Sunday is perhaps the right day. Yes, beautiful. So fairness. The scales on this card tell you everything you need to know. They're the symbol of Libra. Libra is the sign of harmony and balance. Not saying that the balance is necessarily always achievable, but that we need to, when we are wildly out of balance, we do need to strive for it. But this is not talking about balance in your life in terms of your work and your personal life. It's talking about fairness in terms of the way you treat people. So we want to, this card just come up for people in personal readings when they're going through things like custody negotiations or contract negotiations, anything legal, anything like that. And anything where they're worried they're not going to be treated fairly, and this reassures them that they will. And for those of you who are not in that situation at all, it's asking you to remember to treat people fairly. And that doesn't mean, letting them treat you badly. It just means that you can still stand up for yourself against bad behaviour, and it's very, very important you do, in fact. But make sure that you are not stepping on other people in order to have your needs met. You're not being unfair. You're not taking advantage of situations to get what you want. I very much doubt anyone watching this would be the sort of person who takes advantage of people, but you never know. Certainly, even myself, I find myself sometimes freaking out. There's not enough for me, so I start pushing a bit too much. So just be aware of where you're treating people unfairly. It might be something as simple as interrupting them. Oh yes, I've got enough. I'd suddenly counted these and went, it's only 6, but no, it's 7. Yeah, just be sure that you're not treating people unfairly, or because when we interrupt people, we are saying, I'm more important than you. I need to get my message out there, and it's more important than yours. And that's probably not the case. When we're in flow, when we're in alignment, we don't need to worry about that. We get the chance to express ourselves, unless we're hanging out with people who are not so nice, of course. Way off track there, but the messages here are about releasing difficult emotions and emotional blocks with the release all anger and the forgiveness. We've got messages about overcoming adversity here, and making sure, of course, we're talking to our angels in order to get some help with that. Yeah, that's the main thing. I mean, the shield yourself, I guess that could relate to where your emotions have come on from other people, and making sure that you are taking responsibility for that. And I guess there's sort of a correlation there with the release all anger as well. If you are working with people who are highly strung and very negative and very competitive, I guess, there's a chance you will buy into that. I've worked in very gossipy kind of work atmospheres, and I found myself falling into that hole as well. Not to blame them, it was still my choice, but if you're not protecting your energy, it will be a lot harder for you to make good choices that are right for you, instead of just being carried away by the tone or the mood of the atmosphere. Anyway, that's it for the week. Thank you for watching. I better wrap it up now. It's 17 minutes. Thank you for your time and your love and your support. I'm still away right now. You can still reach me, though, on www.onegroundedangel.com. Hit up the bookings form. I'm occasionally on Instagram as well. My Instagram is @onegroundedangel, but I'm not so good at replying to DMs or checking messages. So if you do want to make a booking, you do need to go through the website. But I still love all your feedback, so do keep it coming. When I get to see it, I really love it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great week, and I'll read for you again next week.